Hey, all, welcome back to the Awesome Life podcast. I'm Karen Stultz, your host, and we're here to provide information for women in transition who may be searching for something, but not quite sure where to go, how to find it. So we like to give some of that information with my amazing guests. And as I say each week, my guests are just so awesome. And today is no exception. I have the amazing, wonderful Kimberly Humphreys with me today. Kimberly,
Thank you.
Absolutely. She's a friend, she's a colleague, and she has such heart. And you can tell that if after you hear her, you will know what I'm talking about. But isn't it interesting? Her heart comes out in the title. She's the founder of the HeartJoy Transformation. And with that, she helps her clients complete her program, who do complete her program, to go from unhappy to feeling or feeling stuck or feeling, what do I do now? To help her clients go through her program and become complete. She is able to help them find love again, love in all aspects of their life. And when we love ourselves, we are awesome. So Kimberly began impacting lives as a certified holistic health coach. She discovered her deepest impact was emotional healing. And her passion is to meet people at their deepest need and bring them from there to inner peace and sustaining happiness, to go from thriving, to go back to thriving and nourishing in all aspects of their life. So thank you so much for coming and joining me on the Awesome Life podcast, Kimberly. It is such a pleasure. I always love hanging out with you, and you will see how wonderful she is as we continue on. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe to the Awesome Life podcast and also see this beautiful lady on the YouTube channel, Conversations. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell there too. So Kimberly, you are amazing in so many ways. How did this all start for you?
Well, that's a loaded question, by the way.
Leave it to Karen. Leave it to Karen.
So, I'm just going to say that it started when I was a little girl. I came up in a and for me, it was a challenging childhood. And I wanted to know, what is the purpose of life? Why do we have to go through all this? What is this about? It can't just be to be happy and that's it.
Yeah.
There's got to be more to it. Yeah. And fast forward 50 years later, I started getting some real satisfying answers. And this is after 2 failed marriages. One lasted 21 years, the other one 15 months. I wasn't doing that again. I was like, oh no, I see where this is going.
Now we have a keeper, do we? The third one's the charm.
Yes. Yes. There is hope for any of you out there. There is definitely hope. I can tell you that so it transformed. I transformed my own life and found my calling.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that. And yeah, it might have taken a long time to do it, but it also says it's never too late. It's never too late, no matter what you're doing. It's never too late to start.
And everything that happens up to that point, and including that point and beyond, all part of it.
And it's so awesome. I love it when we are living from our heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, you are a certified emotional health coach and holistic coach. What exactly does that mean? What is Yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah. So holistic simply means that it encompasses the whole person, mind, body, spirit. And I take it even a step further. We're energetic beings. We're emotional beings. We are, when I say energetic, we have literally energy channels that are, energy is flowing through our body constantly. Energy, we are we have a mental body where our thoughts are flowing, and all of these things affect us. And so when I work with someone, myself, all of those parts are included. They're acknowledged, they're considered, they're addressed.
So is it, I'm wondering, I know the energy, a lot of people know Reiki. I do energy healing, you do the energy healing. I don't do Reiki per se.
Me neither.
But
it's nothing wrong with it. It's just not part of my toolbox.
Right. So are there special things that you might work on with the emotional and energy healing?
So first, I understand that we're vibrational beings. And we can measure our vibration, and we can increase it and we can decrease it with our very thoughts. Our thoughts immediately impact our vibration. For example, if we think of something that makes us feel sad, that will lower our vibration. If we think of something that makes us feel angry, that will lower our vibration. On the contrary, if we think of something that makes us feel happy and excited, that increases our vibration. And so we always are controlling our vibration. That's probably the most instant indicator or regulator that we have. And then there.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, then we have the deeper levels of the emotions.
Okay.
And they are like, like the undercurrents, and the water. They flow deep, but we have access to them. And so it just goes deeper than the thoughts. And then we have the energy. And so there's just all these levels of beingness that so when a person says that they've tried this or they've tried that, they probably just haven't gotten to the right level of where things are happening.
That's great. I wonder sometimes too, Kimberly, with they may not have gotten to the right level, but I wonder if it's being aware and allowing the level to show up for them too.
Absolutely.
Part of the awesome life success. Yeah.
Now, in my practice, we get to the awareness through soul centering, through getting into our soul, to connecting to our soul, because that's where the knowing is. We don't have it here, but it's in here. It's in there. But we get centered, we go inside, and I create a safe space let's just listen, see what comes up. And it's through the breath is the way we get there. Through focusing on our breath. This is done a lot in Taoism, Buddhism, those kinds of things, but I didn't study those. This was a part of my emotional and spiritual health coaching certification, is where I learned it. And then through practice and through practicing it with myself, through practicing it with my clients, we come up with the answers to why I had to experience that. And when we get to the why of that experience and the lesson that it was in there for us, that energy it just dissipates.
Oh, don't you love it when that happens? Don't you love it? And the being happens and the human gets out of the way.
Yes, yes, yes. So we go, deep inside, and that's where the healing happens, and that's where the growth happens.
Yeah.
The
And
spiritual growth.
it doesn't have to be real hard to do that, I wouldn't think.
It's
But
not hard at all.
no.
It doesn't even take that long.
Oh, I love it.
We're
You're
talking
saving
5
time.
minutes here. I mean, really.
5 minutes? Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
to allow it. I mean, I don't want to put a time on it, but my point is, it's not a long time thing. It doesn't take a lot of time.
Exactly. All it really takes is the allowing for it to happen, and the desire to have some change. And if they don't,
And the openness, allowing, which is the, open. I say allowing, acknowledge, accept,
Mhm,
and
mm.
appreciate.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's all so important. And I know that you're breathing into space, into the core. That's something that's used a lot in mindfulness too, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
And is that something that you use in your work? You talk
use-
about being on purpose.
yeah. I haven't directly focused on that specifically, but I do focus on who we are, why we're here, to learn the lessons, and that everything that happens that we react to, that moves us one way or the other, is for that purpose. And to be mindful that that we're spiritual beings having a human experience for the purpose of spiritual growth, and whatever happens, that's for the purpose. That's the purpose. It didn't come to harm us or to mess us up, or it didn't. That's not its purpose. So when we first just accept that it is, be curious about what it came to teach us, and open and receptive to the lesson, want to get the lesson. That's the mindset that I instill or convey. And the ones who are successful receive it. I mean, they receive it and then they experience the success. And if they're resistant, it's okay. They just not ready yet. But it's all a part of it. It's because even that resistance is going to be used in some way down the road.
Sounds like perfection to me. You can't do it wrong.
You can't, absolutely. You got it. You can't do it wrong. Exactly. This is why I say you're perfect right now, just the way you are. You are perfect. And it's for your purpose for being here now. And just helping people to appreciate that changes the energy. We talk about changing the vibration. It elevates that vibration. Just knowing I'm okay.
And it's so challenging sometimes for people, especially if they are going through a really tough time. And mind you, Kimberly and I are not doctors or trained in psychology or anything else. We just having a conversation here of what is possible, and the certifications that we have help you to achieve that. But always check with your doctor or psychiatrist to make sure that it's okay before you start working with us or with Kimberly or myself. But when people are in that
there are some
trauma is the only word I can come up with.
You said trauma?
Yeah.
Yes. There right now, people are suffering from everything, from job loss, relationship loss, illness, terminal illness. I mean, the gamut, you know, cancers and all kinds of disease and sickness. And my message is, you're still perfect. You're right where you're supposed to be. This is a part of your purpose. And when you realize that, or if you're the caregiver and you realize that, that peace that comes from knowing that is healing. It contributes to the healing process. If this is not all there is. This life has a purpose, but it's not the end. It's not everything. There's more after. But we're here for a purpose, and that we want to make sure that we fulfill that purpose, and we will feel fulfilled when we do, and as we do, because it's not just, okay, we fulfilled our purpose, now what? As long as we're here, we got breath in our body, we've got purpose.
Everyone has purpose. Absolutely. It's a question of sometimes, a lot of people believe, and took me a long time to realize it, but I've become a believer. We've made a contract to be here, to fulfill a purpose, to repair something that we were not able to do in the past life. And if we don't know what that purpose is, are we doomed to just continuing that over and over again? Well, and I know you're not a psychic or
right.
But
I'm not. Intuitively is the way I can answer.
Right.
Way I can answer from my own intuition and everything that I have learned about this subject. And I've done a lot of studying, but I don't know it all by any means, by any stretch of the means. I don't know it all. But my sense, and what my sense tells me, is that if we don't resolve, well, let me back up for a second. I believe that ultimately our goal is to grow into a more loving being.
Yes.
That is the goal. That is the purpose.
That's the highest plan. Yes.
And that's really our purpose for being here. Yeah, there are some things that we need to repair, learn, rectify, whatever. But even if we thought we knew what it was, we still may not recognize how we're doing it.
Right. Right.
And so this is where we have to trust our inner self, our higher self. Consult our higher self. Be guided by that. Because that's our expert. That's the part of us that does know the beginning from the end. And when I say that, I'm going to put this little added thing in. We've got to take judgment of people, including ourselves, out of our life. It has no place.
That's the only way that we can find that love and allowing, and that purpose is if we can. And that is, there are things that we are going to judge. That's all there is to it. We are going to judge.
As long as we know the beginning and the end, right?
Yeah, if we can release most of that judgment and just be the observer of, as a matter of fact, in the Everyday Wholeness show that I podcast that I do with a colleague, Janet Uribe, we have that's coming up in a week or so. Anyway, being the observer. And when you are the observer without judgment, you're just observing, then you can start letting go of all of the judgment that is keeping you from enjoying life. And that's what it takes to have somebody like Kimberly help you recognize that, so that for people like me, I need to have things pointed out so I can observe and say, is that right for me? Or is that possible for me? Or no, maybe not. That's my judgment. That's where I am right now. That's not right for me. But oh, if I left myself open to the possibility, now I know what to look for because somebody has pointed it out.
If, okay, someone else is pointing it out, do you agree with what they're pointing out? There's a part of you that knows. So, you know,
Well,
and you want to,
opening up to the possibility that they may be correct, but they're human just like me. So that, I mean, I make mistakes. People make mistakes. People interpret things based on their viewpoint, based on what is going on in that moment in time. I could say, oh, Kimberly, I love you. I do. I love Kimberly Humphreys. She is so awesome, and the HeartJoy. Or I could say, yeah, Kimberly, I love you. Yeah, I like your HeartJoy. Sure. Uh-huh. And it comes across differently because I'm in a different lower vibration, right? But guys listening, she's awesome. That second one is not accurate, but based on where you are at that moment in time, who you have been talking to at that moment in time, who you've been, or how you've been feeling. Maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe you're coming down with a cold, and therefore that affects the way you look at things. So that's why I say, coming from somebody else, I might disagree vehemently, but when I started allowing that possibility to be accurate, then magic happens.
yeah. Well, you know, if it sparks in our heart, that's the testing ground, the litmus test, if you will. What resonates, excuse me, with our heart? We can be all many different places. Like you said, there's so many things that can take us down or lift us up even. But if we're not happy, or if we're not, what we're doing is not working for us, and you, my mentor, observes me and says, well, what about this? Or have you considered this? It's either going to, you know, this is where it's going to take hold. It's either going to go, or it's going to go, you know, and then there's no wrong. There's no wrong. But I love your allowing. Just allow, be curious.
It's very helpful. And as a former people pleaser and self-doubter extraordinaire, myself, I thought for years and years and years, that's why we get along so well. For years, I thought, well, there's something wrong with me because I feel things in my heart. I feel the pain. I physically feel the pain in my heart, not in my gut. Everyone says, feel it from your gut. I'm saying, no, I don't. There must be something wrong with me, because all of my mentors were saying from my gut. And finally, when I let go of that people pleasing and self-doubting, I found people like you, and we speak from our heart. And that's what it's all about in our world. So how can people get in touch with you so that they can learn how to speak from their heart joy, and have that transformation?
So probably the fastest way is HeartJoyToday.com.
HeartJoyToday.com.
HeartJoyToday.com. And from there, there's a contact form to reach out to me. In fact, you can reach out to me, like I believe I have there's a way that you can instant message me, and I will get it right away, like on instant messenger.
Oh, terrific. Terrific.
Yeah. Now, if it's in the middle of the night, don't expect a response right away. But
right. Right. That's not happening. And that's the other thing. We all need to have a little bit more patience and understanding of people, because we don't know where they're coming from. And if we took the time to find out where they're coming from, then we can help them with your energy work and with your emotional techniques that really make a difference. It's huge, and it all comes from a conversation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This begins with a conversation, and the conversation goes according to our hearts.
Yeah. And if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. It's perfect. But we want you to know, listeners, that there are no coincidences.
None.
And so if you happen to be listening to this podcast, it is maybe, very possibly, probably for a reason. So I encourage you to reach out to Kimberly, and you have an opportunity for them to have a no obligation conversation today.
I do. As soon as you go to HeartJoyToday.com, there'll be a pop-up, and you just click on there to book it, and it will take you right to the calendar to book a 20-minute free consultation.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful.
So
it's great. We all need people. We all need people to help. And as an example of knowing it's perfect and knowing that it's never too late. And it's basically reframing the way we look at things. I know when I was a kid and I couldn't read, I had dyslexia and didn't know it, was undiagnosed, and I struggled. And you too, same thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Learning disability.
So and I took the tests, and people said, oh, you need to be a teacher. Okay. Everything said I needed to be a teacher. And I thought, okay, fine. I'll go to college. I'll go study teaching. And I didn't like it. It wasn't bringing me that joy. It really wasn't. So I said, all right, I like the idea of teaching and sharing, but I really don't want to do children. It doesn't work. I tried that. It doesn't work for me. And then after 30 years in government and corporate worlds, I found coaching and said, okay, well, basically all I'm doing is sharing. Oh, guess what? Sharing is what teachers do. Okay. So all of those tests from the years past were right. How cool is that? I just wasn't open to, I had my blinders on. It had to be this way. It had to be children in high school or elementary school. That was it. And once I took the blinders off and said, that's what I'm doing in work. Who knew? So take the blinders off, listeners. Reach out to this amazing, amazing lady. Do you have any last words for us before
I
we
just
leave?
want to say you're right where you are, which is where you're supposed to be for where you need to go.
Oh, I love that. Isn't that freeing? You are right where you are supposed to be because everything.
Your heart is saying, I need to reach out. Please do it today.
Awesome. So I will have all of our contact information in the show notes below where you can reach out to this wonderful, amazing Kimberly Humphreys of HeartJoy today. And you can transition and feel that peace and that calm. You can just feel it coming from her heart. And isn't that inspiring? So thank you. And don't forget, come over and watch us on YouTube. And until the next time, have an awesome life. Bye-bye.